down, bullies, blow the man down.
To me way, blow the man down.
Blow the man down, bullies.
If you happen to be a novice woodworker, or somebody likes to mill around, repair things, make a few things out of wood, occasionally you're going to have to find an angle to cut on that wood. And there are many different ways to do it, to figure it out. Sometimes you don't have any plans to work off of, and sometimes it's best, more accurate, to take the angle directly from the wood itself. Now, I'm not addressing experienced woodworkers, they know how to do this stuff. But for people that are just starting out, and these are just a few basic tips that I think might help. There's a very simple tool. It's called the bevel gauge. They're made by a number of different companies. This one happens to be made by Stanley. You can adjust it. It has a slot. You can move it back and forth. You can move it at different angles. So what I'm going to do shortly is I'm going to go find an angle that I need to duplicate onto this piece of wood. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually filming some video for my Shoestring Shipyard channel, and this has to do with the new sailboat that I'm building. This part is called a breast hook, and you don't have to worry about that for this video, but this has to be fit right at the bow on the boat. That's the front end, the pointy end. And the thing is, there's a bit of an angle. The stem is not perfectly plumb. It has a slight angle to it, which means that there has to be an angle cut right here. And also there's flare on the sides of the boat, which means there's going to have to be an angle cut on each side of the breast hook. So I have to find those angles. And this simple tool will help me do that. I'm going to show you very shortly how I go right to the work itself, the boat, and I get the angle, and then I take this tool, and without making sure that everything's tight and I don't touch it and adjust it, and I keep it right where it is, wherever I found that angle, I'm going to take it to my bandsaw, in this case, but you can use this to adjust any kind of saw, or table saw, or a jigsaw, or whatever. But this will help you set the saw to the proper angle you want to cut it. Then you go ahead and cut the piece. It's as simple as that. So, without further ado, let me show you what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this plywood up close, and I have it in the proper plane, and I'm just adjusting the blade so that the handle is lying flush against the plywood and the blade is flush against the inside of the stem. I pull it out carefully, and there's the angle I need to achieve at the front part of that breast hook. What I have to do next is I have to tilt the table of my bandsaw such that I can duplicate the angle between the bandsaw table and the bandsaw blade. First of all, to make room, I'm going to put this blade up, and then I'm going to loosen the knobs that allow me to tilt the table. So here's the angle I have to achieve, which isn't much. And I'm just eyeballing now. I have the handle flat on the table, and the blade of the bevel gauge, I'm making sure that it runs parallel, right in line with the blade of the bandsaw. And then I'm going to tighten up the clamps that hold the table, keep it from moving. It'll hold that angle. And now I have duplicated the angle that I need. At this point, I can go ahead and I can cut the wood that I need to cut at the proper angle. In this case, it's the forward part of the breast hook, so that it'll match the angle between the deck and the stem, the inside part of the stem. But first of all, I just have to drop this guide down, and so it's not so high. And we'll see how this works out. So you can now see that I have the angle I need, and I just want to see what it looks like here. And it looks like I did a pretty good job. I've got that same angle. Now this is the angle that I took right from the work and transferred it to the bandsaw. And then by cutting it with the bandsaw, the breast hook with the bandsaw, now that angle is transferred to the work. It's that simple. And I have other angles I have to get, the sides of the breast hook. I'm going to do it pretty much the same way.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor?